Hi, so welcome to the live stream today as we continue with our live practice question masterclass, solving questions on critical areas in various subjects as we prepare for the March 2026 examination. And on the discussion today, we're going to be looking at some core principles in management accounting, that is costing techniques, absorption costing, and activity-based costing, to see how we can use some practice questions to crystallize these fundamental principles that we need to understand when it comes to dealing with management accounting. So that's what we want to get ourselves into today. Let me see if there are any questions you have. Please put it in the comment or the chat for me. I see some people coming up. Give us a thumbs up on the video, share the video. Let us reach as many people as possible watching the playback as well as watching the stream as well as we continue with our discussion here. So brand new week. Now we are getting ourselves into the fourth week in our discussion for the March 2026 examination, and preparations are underway to put us in that place where we can really go into the exam hall and pass the examination, all other things being equal. So if you have not registered and you're still on the stand and looking at whether you should register or whether you should write, you need to sit down and think about it closely, because yes, we still have a couple of weeks to go, about 8 weeks to go, give and take, for the examination, because exactly 8 weeks from now, you're going to be writing the exam. And so if you're going to sit for the March 2026 examination and you have not started studying yet, and you now want to study, it means that you have a lot of work to do generally at the end of the day, because there will be a little pressure on you in order to help you cover up. But if you are dedicated, you have the discipline that is required, 8 weeks, you can do a lot and put yourself in the position to go into the exam or and pass the examination. So let me bring up my screen quickly and then we can get excited into the discussion today. We are looking at this question here. Again, an ICAG past question that we want to look at in that regard. Give me a sec. I want to make sure I pull up my slide here. So we are looking at the ICAG, July 2025, Management Accounting, and we are focusing on question 3 of that script. Question 3 for 20 marks, but we're going to focus on the A aspects, the I and II, 15 marks. So July 2025, Management Accounting, question 3. That's what we are looking at. And this is on costing techniques, looking at absorption costing, activity-based costing, and how these are used in determining various issues in respect of that. So let's see what we have here quickly. Give me a sec. More or less like I'm having a little delay here. So let's look at the A aspect of this question. The requirement is simple here. It says calculate the unit cost of each product using, calculate the unit cost of each product using I, traditional cost approach, based on direct labor hour rate. So this is just like absorption costing. Because in management accounting, when you see that you are supposed to do traditional cost approach, it technically means you are doing absorption costing. All right, that's what it means. We are doing absorption costing. Then the II part says do the same thing, but this time around you're going to use activity-based costing. So these are the two things that we are looking at in the context of this particular question here. Give me a sec. I think my feed is misbehaving here. On TikTok, and I'm trying to cancel, but okay, let's see. So I'm looking at a question here. Maybe let me address that quickly, then we can jump into the discussion. So the question here from Etiahin Ebenezer also, or Etia Ebenezer, he says, "Sir, what professional certificate is good for someone with BSc accounting with computing?" It's not about what professional certificate is good. It's about what do you want to do? What is your career path? Where do you see yourself going? Like, what's your career goal? It's not about which certificate is good for someone with accounting, BSc accounting with computing. So do you want to be in the accounting field or you want to be in the IT field? So that would determine which profession you should go for. So I don't get the context of your question basically at the end of the day. Okay, so because it's about your goal. Even if you want to be accounting, ACCA is there, right? With your qualification, ICAG is there, CIMA is there. So you need to understand what your goal is, what each of these professional qualification certifications will be like. And with the IT background, do you want to focus on IT or come and do some accounting and combine that with the IT? So it depends on what you want to do generally. So maybe you can give me something specific in respect of that. Then maybe I can give you a better point or explanation in that case. So let's go. Mpusuo Pharmaceutical PLC, Mpusuo, Ana Mpusuo Pharmaceutical PLC, an indigenous local manufacturing firm, produces and markets 3 products: Lonfat DS, Ludrich CS, and Lumbach HS. The firm has noted the deficiency in traditional overhead absorption method and has taken decision to introduce an activity-based costing system in order to correctly allocate cost to their product and also enhance cost control techniques. Second paragraph. Traditionally, the original costing method has been to allocate overheads to products using a single indirect cost pool where overheads are allocated on the basis of direct labor hours, DLH. Using the activity-based costing, or ABC, Mpusuo will apportion indirect costs to products using cost pool which are representative of the relative or relevant activities. Okay, then we go. Relevant information relating to the 3 products are given as follows. Okay, so permit me to bring the entities app quickly. Loan fat DS. And then Ludrich CS. Want to make sure you are leaving a reasonable space to be able to work yourself out. Then the last one is Lumbach HS. So maybe let me go this way. This way for my professional presentation a little bit. So we need to bring the name up. Very important. So calculation of unit cost. And we are using the traditional costing method. Or we can just say absorption costing. Because that is the A part of the question. Now, you know already if we are going to be dealing with a traditional costing method or using the absorption costing, the rule is simple. We bring our direct material, direct labor, get our prime cost, then we add factory overheads, and the factory overheads will be absorbed using what? The direct labor hours as required in the context of this question. So we slash in our currency sign respectively here. Then we go. So what do we have? You can see direct material cost here. So let's bring that up respectively. So direct material cost. Direct material cost is 247, 234, 208. $247, $234, $208. Then we go to the second item, direct labor. So direct labor cost. For direct labor cost, pay attention closely. We are giving units direct labor hours respectively. Then we are also giving direct labor per hour, which is the rate. So we've been given the rate per labor hour, and we've been given the number of labor hours that each of the products are using. So we need to calculate this for ourselves. So we are multiplying this once, okay, the units by the currencies respectively. So 7.8 by 10. For the first one. The second one is 10.4 by 10. Oh, okay, so they are all 10. So let me go this way. 7.8 slash 10.4 slash 9.1 times 10 Ghana cedi, because the rate per hour is 10 Ghana cedi throughout. So we multiply respectively to see what we have here. $7.8 times, okay, 10, could do that, 78. 104, and then 910, respectively, in that case. So that is the idea there in respect of that. Then we continue. We see machine hours, we see number of production run, we see number of components receipts. All those things are for the activity-based costing environment. You know that already. Then we see variable overheads per unit. variable overheads per unit. So it means for professional presentation purposes, summation of direct cost gives us prime cost. You remember that, right? So we now add these up. What do we have when we add these up respectively? 78,247. That's 325. 234 plus 104. That's 338. 208 plus 910. 1118 for us in that case. No, this is 91 because it's 9.1. So that should be 91 plus 208. That's 299. So we add the factory overheads. O/H for me is overheads. We bring in the variable overheads. We don't necessarily know whether this variable overhead is factory or not. So I'm just going to bundle everything up. So variable, that will be, it has been given directly per unit. So we'll just bring it up. 44, 57, and 49. 44, 57, 49. Then we need a fixed overheads, which is what has been given below. The amount of fixed overheads, giving us the total of this figure. So fixed overheads, we need to work for that. So I go to my workings here, in that case, and then pull up my slide. We need to calculate the overhead absorption rate, which is your total overheads, divided by, in this case, we are using labor hours, so total direct labor hours. Now, stay with me, because we have the production units on top there, and we have the units of labor hours per pair. So let me bring this up so I don't have to write a lot. So like this, don't worry, we're going to cancel out the direct material situation because we want to multiply up. When we multiply the labor usage per unit times the unit, it gives us what? The total labor hours, right? That's going to give us the total labor hours. So you multiply respectively. So 156,000 times 7.8. And that is 1,216,800. 97,500 times 10.4. That's 1,014,000. 39,000 times 9.1. And that is giving us 354,900. So we add the 3 up. That will give us the total direct labor hours. So plus 1,014,000 plus 1,216,800. And that is 2,585,700. Okay. So now we have the denominator. The numerator is the total overheads that you can see here, 19,890. So our overhead absorption rate or overhead recovery rate is 19,890 divided by 2,585,700. So we punch that out, and that gives us the overhead absorption rate Give me a sec. Am I missing something? Wait, let me see. Units of direct labor hours, respectively. Okay. So times 7.8. That'll be 0.06 for us. Sort of like insignificant there. Give me a sec. Let me see. Okay, so we have the variable overheads per unit. Because my figures are giving me some strange outcomes, I want to make sure that I'm on the right page. Okay. So unit of direct labor hours, production units, 156,000 times 7.8. Okay, that is correct. 97,500 times 10.4. That is correct. 39,000 times 9.1. That is correct. So 2,585,700. Okay. And then the total overheads. Yes, I now know why. Because they are working 3 zeros up here, which I'm ignoring. Because I'm getting some strange figure B that is making me rethink what I'm doing. Because if you're not careful with the zeros, you'll get some strange answers. So we are working 3 zeros up there. So that would be 19,890,000, like this. Because I was ignoring the 3 zeros, it is affecting the answer that I was getting generally. So now I can say 19,890, 1, 2, 3, divided by my answer, and that's like 7.7 Ghana City, approximately, if we are working to one decimal place. So that is calculation of the overhead absorption rate. Once we calculate the overhead absorption rate, we can go and bring it up here. So 7.7 times the labor hours used, that's 7.8, 10.4, and then 9.1. Now we multiply respectively to get for the period. So 7.7 times 7.8, 60, 06, I don't know, maybe just 60 if we are working to the nearest. So 60.10. 7.7 times 10.4. So that's 80.10. Because I'm just running that last part. Then the last one, 7.7 times 9.1. That's 70 point, again 10. It's 70.07, but you know. So I can add these up to give me the total cost per unit. So plus 49 plus 299. And that is giving me 418. 418.07. We could decide to ignore that. 338 plus 57 plus 80.1. That is 475.10. We can ignore that as well. 325 plus 44 plus 60.1. And that is 429.10. So this is the answer to the question 5 marks absorption costing. Calculating the cost per unit using absorption costing. And that is 5 marks. And as I keep on telling you, in management accounting, one of the challenges you're going to be having is time. How do you work with speed and accuracy? Because that A part of the question is 5 marks. It means we need 9 minutes. So you are doing this and calculating the overhead absorption rate right in 9 minutes. So speed and accuracy is going to be crucial. If not, then you're going to be in trouble. Now, how do you work on the speed and accuracy? By understanding the principles, right? So once you understand the principle, you will be in a comfortable lead for the most part to be able to answer the question. Then let's look at the B part of the question or the II part of the question. Now, in the II part of the question, everything is going to be the same except the fixed overheads. So just permit me to copy the same thing here, because the cost is the cost, only the fixed overheads will be changing. Oh, why is my app loading forever? I'm just waiting for... I don't know why this thing is taking forever to load. Okay. Let me take it again. Okay, so same idea, II. Let's see. Activity-based costing. So we are just going to change this into ABC. Now, everything will remain the same. Prime cost will not be affected. The variable overheads will not be affected. It is the fixed overheads that will be affected. So we go and do our workings quickly here in that particular case. So activity-based costing. Now we've been given the breakdown of the overheads. Luckily for us, the cost driver and the cost pool has been given, so we don't need a problem. So setup, they say we should use production run. Machine, they say we should use machine hours. Goods inwards, they say we should use component receipt. Packaging, they say we should use purchases order. Engineering, they said we should use purchases order. So we are not the ones who are going to be determining anything. It's directly given. So let's go through the workflow. You know, in activity-based costing, we will calculate the overhead absorption rate for each of the cost pool. Then we will do the allocation, right? Then we go ahead with the flow. So I'm going to have a location here for the products. So permit me to bring in the products. I don't know why my loading is taking time than required. Come on, Nhyira. My loading is not supposed to take time than required like that. So the allocation side of things. Don't worry, I only need the name of the company, but my copying is delaying. So that's why I had to copy all of this again. Okay. The reason we want to set this up is because so that when we start working, everything will just flow directly. So that's why we are setting this up. Now let's go. Calculate the overhead recovery rate. The first one is setup. So overhead absorption rate, the setup. So the overheads for the setup is 1,638,000. So that's our numerator. So 1,638,000. They said we should use production run. So you go back up there, you can see number of production runs. So we add the 3 up. 20 plus this gives us 59. Plus 98 gives us 157 production runs. Okay? 157 production runs. So you divide 1,638,000 divided by 157. That gives us 10,433. We have 0.12 there. Can decide to ignore it. Then you come to the allocation side of things, and that is going to be set up. So you are now going to multiply this by their actual runs. So 10 Ghana City 433 times the runs each of them did 20, 39, 98. All right. So you multiply that up respectively to get the allocation for each of the products. So 10,433 times 20. And that is 208,660 times 39, 406,887 times 98. That's 1,022,434. That is the idea about the way the activity-based costing works. So we calculate the overhead absorption rate, then we express it on the actual thing that happened during the year under review. We go the same way for the next item, which is machine. So overhead absorption rate, machine. For machine, the total overheads there is 10,530,000. Now, this one we are using machine hours. So we have to calculate the machine hours ourselves. So total machine hours. Now, you go back to the question. We are giving the machine hours per unit here. So we multiply that by the total units that each of the products is doing to get our answer in respect of this. Why is I don't know why my app is misbehaving with me. Anytime I try to copy. Okay. Oh. My app is just misbehaving today. All right, so production units. So production units respectively 156,000, 97,500, 39,000. Okay. So 156,097,500 and then 39,000. So we multiply that by the machine usage or machine hours per unit. So the machine hours, what do we have? 2.5. Is it 2.5? No. 5.2 rather. And then 10.4. And then 11.7. So we multiply that up respectively. 156,000 times 5.2. That's 811,200. 97,500 times 10.4. That is 1,014,000. 11.7 times 39,000. That's 456,300. Then we add that up to give us the total machine hours. And that is 2,281,500. 2,281,500. So now that we have this, we can calculate the overall recovery rate. Okay, I have it above there. So 2,281,500. So that's 10,530,000 divided by my answer gives me 4.62. So that's the overhead absorption rate for the machine. Now we're going to use that for the allocation. So machine. So that's going to be 4.62 times the usage per pair, 5.2, 10.4, 11.7. So 5.2, 10.4, 11.7. So you now multiply respectively. 4.62 times 5.2, that's 24. Oh no, I'm doing in total, so let me do total, sorry. The total is 81, not the per pair, because alternatively, we can work for the per pair and add the totals up though. But let's go this way. So 811,200 times. Uh-oh.